Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84. Welcome back to my channel. I'm just going to do in a minute a quick monthly garden tour. I normally try and do these on the first Sunday of every month, but I was still away on a short holiday last Sunday, so obviously I didn't get a chance to do it, and I can't do them during the week because this time of the year I work, and obviously when I get home from work it's too dark. Now unfortunately it is drizzling lightly at the moment, so I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter and less detailed than I normally do. I'm going to focus really on the plants such as the feijoas or pineapple guavas, pawpaw, persimmons, perhaps the Asian pear if the fruit's still on it. I'll just concentrate mostly on the plants that have still got some fruit on it, and you'll see that we're getting autumn colours on a lot of the trees now. It's not much fun filming in the drizzle, but I just thought I'd say hello to everybody on camera before I flip the camera around. I've got on to the October tour, which is probably the last one of the year, because by November there's nothing left on the trees to show. So without more delay, I'll stop the camera and flip it round and we'll do a quick tour. So we'll start the tour with my Crimson Bonfire Peach, which remarkably now on the second Sunday in October still in full leaf with no signs really of autumn colours. I know everybody likes to see it very quickly, although it's got no fruits on it now. So let's carry on. Now we have there, I don't know if you'll be able to see, that is my that's a Chilean Guava there. That's the variegated one. That's Ugly Molyneux Flambeau. I can just about lean over. You can probably just see in the background some berries that are nearly ripe. Now on this particular Chilean Guava, the berries tend to be a sort of a very pale white colour with a hint of pink, so they're probably about ready to eat now. They're quite small on this variety, although perhaps as the plant gets bigger the berries will get bigger, and the fact that it's so enclosed in by the plants is probably what's causing it not to be a successful producer. The blueberries are coming to the end of their growing cycle for the year now. No fruits left whatsoever on any of my blueberry plants, but they're starting to get that. As you can see, they're getting this lovely nice autumn or fall colour on them that one of the reasons I like to have them is because they're so decorative. Pineapple guava, this one is Mammoth, has got a couple of 2 or 3 small fruits developing, which you'll have seen if you look at my pineapple guava update videos. You'll be aware that the Mammoth has got 2 or 3 fruits on it. This is my unnamed variety, has got a few fruits that's set. They're not going to make it to an edible size, it's too late in the year. They need to be a fair bit bigger than that. They need to be at least golf ball size probably to be edible, and this one's an unnamed cultivar and it doesn't produce what I consider to be decent edible fruits. However, they're small this year because I cut it back very heavily in spring, and obviously that delayed its flowering and fruiting, so although it has set some fruits, they're not really of an edible size. My in-ground persimmon, which I think might be a male flowered one, as it had a few flowers early in the season, they seem to look like male flowers. It's the first time it had flowered, but of course it was a seedling plant, so there was no way of knowing what type of flowers it would have on it. Moving along, I've had no flowers on this in-ground pomegranate at all this year. It's still a nice light green colour. It's starting to get its autumn colours now, but I said unfortunately, although I had a couple of flowers last year, this year decided not to produce any. Quickly breaking off the fruiting plants, that's one of my nerines. They've not done very well this year. They don't seem to produce any flowers apart from this one stalk for whatever reason, although the Agipanthus had a good year. There's one of my friendly spiders there who look after keeping the bad insect population down in the garden, so I don't disturb them. This is my Triumph pineapple guava. This one is doing well this year. Got plenty of fruits on it that should be an edible size by the end of the month. And again, if you've watched my video, you'd have seen that it's got my fruit there is particularly big, that's not far off maturity. This one's a good size as well, but there's plenty more that within a month should be okay. Now whether or not I can show you, but this is, you can see the beautiful golden yellow colour the pawpaw tree gets at this time of the year, and it won't be long before we can see the fruits properly. If I pull that back, this plant's got 4 fruits on it. This is an unnamed seedling variety, so I have no idea whether or not the fruits will be palatable or not. Should be okay. Most pawpaw do produce edible fruits, but the name varieties are the ones that people normally go for, but I've really got this as a pollinator for my name varieties. Quickly flipping around here, the lulos are still hanging on. Haven't opened any flowers. I'm guessing it's getting too cold for them now to develop any further. The leaves are going a bit yellow, so I might try and move these into my summer house there with the citrus to see what happens. This is my Chilean Guava of the variety Pawpaw. I only just put the plant in a couple of months ago, so I'm hoping next year this one's going to take off and produce some decent fruits. It has got a couple of tiny little berries on there you can probably just about see, which probably just about edible size if the birds don't get them. My in-ground citrus Yuzu, still holding on to 2 fruits on the same branch. They look okay, and the plant looks relatively healthy in ground at the moment, but we haven't had any cold weather. Just walking around the back, I put 2 tropical passion flowers in ground, or passion fruits in ground, simply because I had no room for them. Now the one on the left, which I think is Tarminiana or Tripartita, can't remember which one it is, has taken off and done really well, so I may well try and find a way to protect this over winter to see if I can just stop it dying back. I mean, it'll die back to the base, but if I can protect the bottom half of the plant, there's a slight chance it would survive the winter. The Adulis next to it obviously hasn't got itself settled because it hasn't put out any new growth, so the chances of that surviving are very thin. This is a yellow strawberry guava that I've decided to chance in ground, as I've got several of them, as an experiment to see if it will get through the winter. It has had some flowers on it. There's some buds there, you can probably see them. Hasn't set any fruit because it obviously was only put in the ground in about September, I think it was, once I've finished this raised bed, so no chance for it to get established, and of course there's every likelihood it might die in the cold in winter. We will see. And I put one of those Naranjillas or Lulo in ground as well because I thought it would grow better, but of course these are killed by temperatures below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees centigrade, so not likely to get far beyond the end of October. But I had too many, so I thought I'd put them in. Now, looking at my Asian pear here, still got 1 fruit hanging on it. This one here, which I expected to fall off, I thought I'd leave it on to see how long it would stay on the tree. So we're now in the 2nd week of October, and that's still hanging on the tree. Now, moving on to my persimmons, can't quite show it to you, but I've got, let me see if I can show you the fruit. This one here is Gyro or Giro. It's got 1 fruit on it. You can see the autumn colours of persimmons are starting to get on them now. Now again, you can't see from here, but I'm very excited because I've got an American persimmon at the back. I can't remember if that's Morris Burton or Garrettson, but it's actually got about 3 or 4 persimmons on it, and they're starting to change colour. Now the reason I've been so keen to try and get American varieties is I thought that because they were smaller fruits and they're used to colder climates, they'd probably ripen earlier in the season. That does seem to be the case because they're already changing colour in October, whereas the couple of Asian ones I had last year didn't start to change colour until the end of November, early December. So I'm hoping there's a chance that as these trees mature, I'll get better fruits off the American ones, which, although they're astringent, are also supposed to be really nice tasting. Probably you won't be able to see it from there, but I've got 1 fruit on my Rojo Brillant, which is about 2 to 3 inches across. You can probably see there, actually, if I can zoom that in a bit, that's the American persimmon, but that's actually one of the smaller fruits that's turning orange. It's got some larger ones, which I would say probably the size of eggs, maybe. And I've also got I've got one fruit on my chocolatino at the back, which we can't see very clearly, but you can see some of the trees are getting their autumn colours now. Now right at the back I've got my Prima Pawpaw. No sign of any fruits ripening or dropping on that. It's got about 7 or 8 smallish fruits on it, and I've bagged some of them so that if we get any bad winds they'll fall off and into the bags hopefully, but doesn't look as if they're going to be ripe for the next 2 or 3 weeks. All of these other plants, these are various mulberries at the front here. This is the Japanese raisin tree. Still got a few flowers appearing on my goji berry, and in fact, although you won't be able to see it, incredibly it's actually set. Can't get the camera to focus because I'm obviously holding it with one hand, so but there's actually a goji berry set on there, which is a big surprise. It's not big enough to make fruiting size this year. This is my carob tree. Looks like it's recovering from root rot because it has put a little bit of growth on late in the season, because last spring it had root issues. The mulberries are all going dormant. Some have lost all their leaves completely. This is my Szechuan pepper tree. It's looking nice and healthy. Moving on to the feijoas again. I've got one fruit on my Coolidge, which is down there. Very small fruit. Might get to an edible size. The Gemini has got a lot more fruit developing on it, and looks like I'm gonna have 2 or 3 edible ones on there. No signs, sadly, of flowers on the loquats this year again. I'm getting a lot of problems with the plants with these browning leaves, and I haven't been feeding it because I thought it was fertiliser burn, so I'm not too sure if this is caused by too much water or too little water or some other issue with the roots. So I might take them out of the pots this winter and have a look and see if there's some problem I'm not aware of. These are grown on quince rootstock, so they should really be okay and quite hardy. All my young fig trees are doing okay. My Descania has survived this year because I lost one last year due to root rot, but this looks fine. That's the blue sausage tree. The Morris behind it, the mulberry is completely dormant already, which is quite a surprise. The Kiwi Berry I planted in the ground, which is an Issai. So I finally got one that's definitely self-fertile, still holding on to the small fruits it had when I bought from the nursery, but they haven't grown. They haven't grown or matured, probably because of the fact that it was a young plant. In fact, I'll pull this one off because it seems to be a little bit soft, so it might be interesting to cut that open and have a look at that in a minute. I don't think it will have reached any level of ripeness or sweetness, but we'll have a look at that on a separate video perhaps. So everything else is doing okay. I've even got not easy to see it because it's up in the tree, but I've even got a couple of figs that look as if they're going to be ripe in the middle of October, so I'll be featuring those in a video later and putting a bag on them. So that was just a very quick garden tour. I'm not going to just going to give you an overview there so you can see all the autumn or fall colours coming. Typically enough, you can see how the persimmons, that one's a Hanafuyu there, so I'm hoping to get fruits on that next year. Would have had fruits this year if we hadn't had that cold snap in April, which wrecked all of the spring growth on the persimmons and killed all the flowering growth off. So I'll be taking that out of the pot in winter and perhaps moving it to a slightly bigger pot and looking at the soil and making sure it's got good drainage, because I think some of my persimmons have been too wet this year on the roots, which has caused some issues with them. But nevertheless, I'm happy with how most things are doing in the garden for the time of the year. So that's the quick garden tour and overview. Hopefully I've remembered to mention the ones that have actually got some fruits on them still, because that will mostly interest people. And there may or may not be one in November. It depends what's left on the trees, if there's anything worth showing. If not, I'll just be doing standalone videos and featuring single plants with fruits on them. So thanks for watching. Much appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up. Obviously, Share the video if you think anyone might be interested in some of the things growing here in the UK. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you're interested in anything that I'm growing, and remember to click on the bell if you do want updates as they come out, which will include of course things like the feijoas or pineapple guavas as they reach maturity. I'll catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.